Mr. Sergeant of Arms, invite the members into the chamber. I hereby declare the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee now in session. Will the members please stand? Will the visitors in the gallery please stand and remain standing through the Pledge of Allegiance? Representative Salinas will lead us as chaplain of the day. Representative Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My mom always says that God's timing is divine, and I think she's right because I've been trying to do the prayer since last year, and today was the day that was given to us, and it's my birthday. And my mom is with us in the back with my grandma and my twin brother, who also has a birthday today. My mom has been through a lot, but if there's anything that has remained constant, it has been God. And she has taught all of her kids to walk in faith. We are Catholic, but on the hard days, she would say, don't let anyone take away your joy or your happiness. And then she would also remind us that God does not abandon widows and God does not abandon orphans. So when we missed our dad because he passed away, or when she was alone because my dad passed away and was raising all four of us, she said, God does not abandon widows and God does not abandon orphans. And she kept going forward. And then she also put the fear of God into all of us. Anytime we tried anything, she said, don't try me because God is on my side. And anytime we tried to get away with anything, somehow God told her what we were up to, and she always caught us. So my mom is a very devout person to the divine mercy. And one of the things about the divine mercy, Representative Bolso and I always have talked about it recently, is that the saying is that in God we trust. In God we trust. Jesús en ti confío. Jesus, I trust in you, is in Spanish. And that has been what my mom has instilled in all of us. And I think that in my faith, I'm Catholic. We try to strive to live as the saints did, because saints are holy people that are close to God. And I think if anyone displays that, it's my mom. So I wanted to read a prayer, and then my Catholic colleagues are going to join us in the Hail Mary in Spanish and English after I read the prayer that I'm going to read now. So this is the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. It says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there's injury, pardon. Where there's doubt, faith. Where there's despair, hope. Where there's darkness, light. Where there's sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, and to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Hail Mary, Mother of God.
The Lord is with thee.
Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God,
pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Dios te salve, María, llena eres de gracia. El Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amén.
Representative Salinas will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Clerk, please take the roll.
Roll call.
Good. Ms. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Speaker, 95 members present.
Let journal reflect Representatives Lynn, Towns, and Hardaway are excused. Next order, Ms. Clerk.
Welcoming, honoring, and announcements.
Welcoming, honoring, and announcements. Chairman Faison, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I request the Sergeant at Arms escort himself and our guests to the chamber.
Mr. Bobby Trotter, please come down.
Yeah.
Chairman Faison, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members, we are celebrating and appreciating three individuals today. And instead of reading the entirety of all three resolutions, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence and Mr. Clerk, would you read some of the resolution for all three of these gentlemen?
Mr. Clerk.
House Resolution 199 by Leader Lambert, a resolution to honor Terry Ventries for his exemplary service as a Sergeant at Arms for the House of Representatives. Whereas it is appropriate that the members of this legislative body should honor those employees who have performed with uncommon devotion and enthusiasm throughout their tenure with the Tennessee General Assembly. And whereas Terry Ventries is one such estimable person who has served with distinction as Sergeant at Arms for the House of Representatives since 2016, now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee that we honor and commend Terry Ventries upon his exemplary service to the House of Representatives as a Sergeant at Arms, express our gratitude to him for his many contributions to good government, and congratulate him on a job well done. House Resolution 186 by Chairman Vaughn, a resolution to honor Reuben Henry Sanders for his exemplary service as a Sergeant at Arms for the House of Representatives. Whereas Reuben Henry Sanders of Goodlettsville is one such estimable person who has served with distinction as a Sergeant at Arms for the House of Representatives since 2017. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee that we honor and commend Reuben Sanders upon his exemplary service to the House of Representatives, and the House Commerce Committee as Sergeant at Arms express our gratitude to him for his many contributions to good government and congratulate him on a job well done. House Joint Resolution 1435 by Chairman Faison, a resolution to commend and honor Chief Sergeant at Arms Bobby Trotter on the occasion of his retirement. Whereas one such individual is Bobby Trotter, who is taking his much-deserved retirement after a distinguished career with the Tennessee House of Representatives, where he served in the position of Sergeant at Arms. And whereas in 2001, Bobby Trotter became captain of the Tennessee State Capitol and Legislative Security Detail and served in that capacity until his retirement in 2008. Since that time, he has served as Sergeant at Arms for the Tennessee House of Representatives, and since 2019 has served as Chief Sergeant at Arms. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, the Senate concurring, that we honor Chief Sergeant at Arms Bobby Trotter and extend to him our deepest appreciation for his meritorious service to the state of Tennessee and the General Assembly. We extend to him our heartfelt wishes for a happy and fulfilling retirement and every continued success in his future endeavors.
Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, there are various and sundry times that we make our way to this House floor And there is possibility that there could be frustration or anger in our heart against a fellow member, whether it's on your side of the aisle or not. Frustration potentially with a staff member, frustration with the speaker, frustration definitely with his chief of staff. There's just various and sundry times that these things are possible. And just about anybody on this House floor, at some point, if you've been here any time, has probably upset you. Isn't that right, Leader Camper? This is what I want you to know. There's never a time that these men have upset us, that have done something that made us mad, that done something that to get us in a bad mood. Every time in my 16 years, when I walk up here or I'm on the first floor of Cordell Hall or what it used to be, Legislative Plaza, there were men that greet me with a smile, ask me how I'm doing, talk to me about my kids, ask me about my wife. And that voice of 1,000 rivers, when the speaker says, shut the doors, invite the members into the chamber, and you hear that voice of 1,000 rivers, ooh, I will miss that. And I feel sorry for the rest of the people who come in after us because they'll never get to hear this man's voice. Guys, you don't know what you'll mean to us. There's a study that's not political, that is just human. And sometimes we long for that in politics, something that's just human up here. And that's what y'all are to us. We are so grateful, so grateful, so grateful for your service. Mr. Speaker, there are a few people who would like to talk about some of these individuals. With your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to ask Dr. Kumar.
Chairman Kumar, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, in a very brief conversation with Bobby in the coffee room, we agreed that we are very fortunate to be here. Yes, it goes for all of us. It was not for just me and Bobby alone. We are also fortunate to be surrounded by a force of protection. Those are our highway patrolmen and our sergeants at arms. They protect the people. They protect our visitors, our constituents, our co-workers, and the legislators. Above all, they also protect this institution that we all love, the Tennessee House of Representatives and the Tennessee General Assembly. The goal is to protect, but in addition, they guard something very valuable, that is the decorum of the House. Yes, it's very difficult when you have people shouting outside and to yourself you're thinking, well, you have a right to shout, but I surely would like a nice quiet morning. Or having to tell Leader Lambert, no, you cannot bring your goat in here. He says it is a constituent. Or telling the visitors, you cannot just grab the speaker on his way to the legislative chambers to get a quick selfie. Can't do that. Decorum is difficult. Reuben and Taylor, they have the grandfatherly demeanor. They will, when they tell people to move, they say, yes, sir. When they tell people to sit down, they say, thank you. Bobby and I have known each other a long time. In our neck of the woods, as they say, we are Robertson Countyans. Bobby was born in Robertson County and has lived there for 74 years, and I've been there for 49 years. Bobby is also a member of the Board of Aldermen of the city of Springfield. He's known to make some quips that are called trotterisms. I practiced to say this word, trotterisms. And the one remarkable one that stands out is, well, the fact that Bobby has the demeanor and the look of a sergeant that says, don't make me come over there. Sitting on the Board of Aldermen, he says, if the city does not fix some of these potholes, we are going to have to register them as historical landmarks. Life is a journey, my friends, and these good folks have brought to us kindness, consideration, love, and humor. And we are grateful for that. God bless you. Thank you.
Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could we allow what could arguably be one of the most entertaining chairmen in the Tennessee House of Representatives, Chairman Vaughn, a few words?
Chairman Vaughn, you recognize.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we all serve here because we feel called to be here, but we enjoy it because of our friendships. And that extends beyond just the other elected people. There are people that we see every day, we come to work, and they give you that look, they give you that smile. They may or may not say something foolish to you that only you appreciate the humor in because they know kind of your personality. Or it could be Bobby T asking if I knew how many days before the Masters teed off. But I'm here to talk about, well, the other thing is the one thing that adjective that Dr. Kumar didn't use is professional. These guys are pros. They are so easy at what they do because they are so confident, so genuine. And so sometimes they look like authority, but they, as opposed to them projecting authority, they project support. And so I'll talk about my man back here. I hate to say it to you guys, but he is always the sharpest dresser. He's cool as the other side of the pillow. He's been a member of our Commerce Committee for, I don't know, he's just always there. He's the one that I tell y'all when y'all try to get for annual signing day as we get towards the end of session. I said, you know, Mr. Rubin, if anybody gets their annuals out early and starts autographing them, we got to take them up and hold them until after school. But I got to tell you, this is one of those things, just a little vignette of what I'm talking about. A couple of weeks ago, somebody was asking for me outside the chamber. Reuben comes up to, I don't even see him approach me. He just kind of slides and glides, you know, and he's a big man. And he said, hey, Chairman, there's a dude out here asking for you. And he said, I ain't never seen him before. And I said, okay. And he said, I said, who is it? He goes, I didn't listen that well. I don't know him. And I said, all right. He says, why don't me and you slip out this side door so you can lay some eyeballs on him before you decide whether or not you're going to go out there and talk to him? I said, boss, that sounds like a great idea. And it turns out it was somebody that actually I know who it was. It was the gentleman, the chairman of FedEx, Brad Martin, and one of his associates. But nobody had squared it away with Reuben whether or not to let him know that there was somebody that was going to come see. But that's the confidence that they instill in us, and the assuredness is something that we will terribly miss. I know we've got other guys that are filling in, and I'm sure some folks will come in and take your place. But I can tell you this, for those of us who have enjoyed your service, we will never, ever forget. Thank you.
Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could we allow the most beautiful and most talented minority leader in the House for a few minutes?
Leader Camp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When he said beautiful, I knew he was referring to me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've heard so much about these gentlemen and how great they are in their jobs, how professional they are, how they can anticipate our needs and be right there for us, how they learn the members and able to, handle things according to who you are. Great stuff. But I have to share this one story with you. Some of you all were here when Curry Todd and Representative Hardaway was about to scrap. Man, the situation was tense. Who talked about that tense situation we have in here? Man, it was tense. And Hardaway came from way over there to go way over there to knock Todd out. He was gonna hurt that man. And he could have. Man, Sergeant at Arms saw it coming. He could see it, anticipated it was coming, had to rush in there and stop the fight on the floor. You remember that? Had to stop the fight. It was going down. Fast forward another incident.
David Hawk.
Oh, you can talk about the David Hawk situation.
David Hawk and Mike Turner.
I'll let Bobby or somebody else talk about the David Hawk and Mike Turner situation. But some of you all remember when Speaker Cassidy, I think the Democrats had decided to walk out. Yeah. Okay, we walking out on this one, okay? So we had our plan. We was walking out. Well, Hardaway, being Hardaway, he's still lingering along his side. And he gets ready to go out. Now, but Cassidy see the situation. Close the doors, lock them doors. Hardaway was locked in. Hardaway's trying to get out. Bobby? Bobby, like the speaker said, lock the doors. You're not getting out of here. They literally almost went to blows. But it was. Let's don't talk about that part. But look, there is a tremendous amount of respect they have for this institution, for protecting us on this floor. And it's very important. And the amount of respect we have for them, when they tell us to calm down, we calm down. There's been times when, take a lot to get me hot. But when Bobby see that, he has a way of calming you down and bringing you back to who you are. So we appreciate that very much. We really do appreciate your dedication to this institution and all the years of commitment you've given to it, your families who've had to sacrifice for you all to be here is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you all for your service to the state of Tennessee.
Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could we allow the man, Bobby T., to say a few words?
Mr. Trotter, you're recognized.
First of all, Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity to serve as chief. Thank you. God bless you. What's it, mayor or something? Anyway, I've been in and out of this chamber for 18 years. I met a lot of great people. I wouldn't dare to try to call names because I'll leave someone out. And I don't know if, help me now, if y'all believe in divine intervention or not, but I'm gonna tell you a story. I hadn't worn this necktie since my mother's funeral in 5 years. And last night I went downstairs and I put on this necktie. And my mom always told me, she said, no matter how people treat you, Bobby, it don't hurt to be nice. And I've always tried to do that. I always try to respect people. And in turn, if you respect people, people will respect you. I found that out. And I love each and every one of you, whether you love me or not, even Representative Stinnett. But thank you all. God bless you and stay prayed up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's going to be fun trying to get everybody in with these pictures. They got more than the rest of us. So can you come down here and?
Yeah, so hey, members, so just so that you know, we're also trying to get a group picture as well, like we've done a few years ago. So this year, let's make sure we get the group, but we'll put all the sergeant at arms in it as well. How about that? So if everybody wants to come up and circle around here, that'd be great.
Mr. Speaker. Come on.
Y'all go up front, guys, up front.
And thank all the guys of Sergeant at Arms. They my family, and we're a good group.
All right, members, hey, we have one more presentation before we get this thing started today. Representative Hemmer, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I request that the Sergeant at Arms escort our guest into the chamber.
Mr. Sergeant of Arms, please escort the guests to the well. Representative Hemmer, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I request that the clerk read the resolution.
Mr. Clerk, please read the resolution.
House Joint Resolution 1546, a resolution to recognize Trooper William Bennett on the occasion of his retirement. Whereas our nation was conceived by individuals who were willing to sacrifice their personal concerns to ensure the public safety and welfare, and the volunteer state is especially proud to be home of many valiant individuals. And whereas one such individual is Trooper William Bennett of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, who has rendered sterling service to the people of the state of Tennessee for 30 years and will be taking his much-deserved retirement. And whereas a 1986 graduate of Mount Juliet High School, Trooper Bennett is a United States Army veteran who served with the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg during the mid-1980s. And whereas Trooper William Bennett began his law enforcement career in 1997 with the Wilson County Sheriff's Department as a patrol officer and was selected in 2002 to attend Tennessee Highway Patrol Academy. Upon graduation from the academy, he served as a road trooper in Sumner and Wilson counties before transferring to the Capitol Protection Unit in Davidson County. And whereas on multiple occasions he has run into harm's way to protect members and staff of the Cordell Hall building, including one notable instance in which he assisted in disarming an individual who had pulled a firearm. And whereas outside of protecting and serving his fellow citizens, Trooper William Bennett commits his time to his family life with his beloved wife and 2 children at their home in Lebanon. In addition, he has proudly owned and maintained his father's Tennessee Orange 1979 CJ5 Jeep. And whereas we find it appropriate to recognize and applaud Trooper William Bennett for his dedication to the state of Tennessee and its citizens, now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives, the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, the Senate concurring, that we honor and commend Trooper William Bennett on the occasion of his retirement, thank him for his meritorious service, and extend to him our best wishes for every future success.
Representative Hemmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Much like putting on my shoes and getting my cup of tea in the morning, my routine coming down here is you stop and you talk to Trooper Bennett. Sometimes that blacks up traffic, stops buses, it doesn't matter. And a couple of weeks ago, he was during our frequent conversations, he was telling me he was retiring, and I said, "We're going to get him on the floor." This is a gentleman worthy of being honored, and for his career, his smiling face, for his ability to jump out of that security station like Kramer from Seinfeld every time somebody comes in the area. But one memory I have of him is my office overlooks kind of the bus station. There was one time I was on a phone call and was looking out, and unfortunately a student was getting jumped by some other young kids, and it was a really bad situation. So I immediately ran 4 flights of stairs down, went straight to the garage, looked at Trooper Bennett. I said, "I need help. Come with me." Without a beat, he went over there. He diffused the situation, and that you heard the resolution, some other stuff he does. That's just who he is, And we couldn't be happier for him to be able to enjoy his retirement. And I'm grateful to know him, and I know we all feel the same. Mr. Speaker, if you wouldn't mind letting Leader Lambert say a few words, please.
Leader, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be a little more careful with this mic today. Will, every time any one of us have come into the garage over the last several years, you've greeted us with a smile and a wave, but you've also greeted us with a just sense of security and safety, that we know that when we've entered into these grounds, that both you and your fellow troopers, and yes, the Sergeant at Arms that we just honored as well, that you've got our back. whether we want you to or not some days, whether we want you to bend the rules in some way and let a guest come in and park or do something else, or try to say, well, why is this the rule or that the rule? You just quietly, confidently, and cheerfully helped enforce the law and keep us safe. You've done it every single day, rain and shine. And look, most troopers don't like to admit this, but troopers have a reputation amongst law enforcement for being grumpy. Okay? It is a true statement. And look, it's something that you have done the exact opposite of. So I don't know whose district you live in, but I hope for their sake you don't run against them. All right? Because you shook every hand of every single member that was up here before we honored you. So here's the deal. Will, thank you for loving on us. Thank you for loving on our families. And mostly just thank you for being that first line of defense, because there are forces and folks in this world that hate freedom and hate democracy and sometimes hate individuals that are here. But you've shown love and security to all of those folks as well. No matter how raucous or difficult the times may have been, you've been kind and forceful and professional. Job well done, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, would you recognize Trooper Bennett for a few words, please?
Trooper Bennett, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm at a great loss for words. And I just cannot thank all of you enough. It has been the greatest honor to see all of you come in every day. The work that each of you do for your constituents. And it's just such an honor to be here for each and every one of you. It's the highlight of my career, and I will treasure all the memories that I have. You know, thank you all so very much. I just really wish that, I know it had to be kept a great big secret. I'd love to have my son and daughter, but they can go back and watch it on the, so thank you all so very much. And I love all of you.
Representative Hemmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would you join us on well for a picture with Trooper Bennett? Around the front here.
Members, we're under welcoming, honoring announcements. Representative Dixie at Representative Towns' desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, they say sometimes imitation is the best form of flattery, but I wanted to honor and recognize my friend Ronnie Glenn today. So I wanted to dress like him today because this is truly my friend, and I want to honor you and recognize you, brother, in the style that you have. So thank you for showing me the way and the light. 'Cause I've got so many compliments today. I think I might change a little bit of my wardrobe for next year. So thank you, Representative Ronnie Glenn.
Representative Glenn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for that flattery over there. First, I'd like to thank my intern, Haven Raymond, who is a political science pre-law at the University of Martin, for all the work she's done this year. I also want to take a moment to congratulate my LA's daughter, Peyton Jergen, who is graduating from medical school and will begin her residency as a psychiatrist this summer. And last but not least, I want to take a moment to thank my LA personally, Tamara. Tamara has kept me out of trouble since the day I got here, and she has been a blessing to my office, a blessing to many of the representatives on that floor, on the fourth floor, what we call Cell Block D. And so I want to thank her for all she's done, and I really am thankful for her being part of my life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Bain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a very, very, very special guest today. My long-term partner of 9 years, Chris Coleman, is in the audience up here. Not only does he put up with me, but he also sues the timeshare industry and CoreCivic for a living. So thank you, and grateful that you're here. Thank you.
Representative Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dixon County Sheriff's Deputy Sergeant Daniel Baker was killed in line of duty on May 30th, 2018. Today, April 23rd, would have been his 40th birthday. And they say a hero remembered is never forgotten. And the 23rd of April every year in Dixon County is Baker Policy Day. And what we do on Baker Policy Day is we encourage everyone to do a random act of kindness, to pay it forward. Buy a stranger a cup of coffee. Get the person behind you in the drive-thru, get their bill. Do something today to help remember Sergeant Daniel Baker on Baker Policy Day. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Representative Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I see up here to my right our wonderful intern, Sydney, and she's at ETSU, but we've had her this semester, and she's done a fabulous job, and I'm so thankful to have her. Will you stand up and wave? Thank you, Sydney.
Representative Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been saying a lot here lately. If you hang around this place long enough, you'll see things you've never seen before, or even hear things you've never heard before on this House floor. But this morning was as interesting as I've seen. I've never seen a sitting governor walk on this floor just to kind of wander around and say hello on what could very well be our last day. So if the governor's watching on the first floor, thanks for coming up to see us. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Lafferty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to welcome and honor all the members of the Government Operations Committee to Rule Review Wednesday, April the 29th at 1 p.m. Look forward to seeing you then.
The gift that keeps giving. That's good. Representative Carringer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My husband and I are so blessed to have our little Olivia Scarlett Carringer, and I just had to say happy birthday to our little blonde, curly-headed Olivia, who turns 8 today. So thank you very much.
Representative Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 1 minute is not long enough, but I do want to make sure I recognize my amazing assistant, Marissa King. I feel like she's a lot of members' assistants in here, so she does a lot of work for us, and I greatly appreciate her for all the things that I throw on her and the rest of the interns in my office, Indian and Taylor. Definitely want to recognize them and appreciate them for the work they're doing. Marissa's also in law school, 1 more year left. And so on top of being an amazing legislator during school, becoming a Delta and doing all these other amazing things, she's holding the office down. So I wanted to make sure I recognize you. Thank you, Marissa.
Representative Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know I mentioned it earlier, but today is my twin brother's birthday. And I just wanted to recognize him. He has been at my side literally since we were in the womb. He is the opposite of me. He is such a people person. He went to school to work with troubled youth and has dedicated the last 10 to 15 years of his life to that. And now he's in education. He is such a talented person that has the biggest heart that I have ever seen in a human. And I always say that he is the wind beneath my wings. He has been, I think I know, as many of you know, our families sometimes don't get to choose the life of politics, but he has always been at my side also on the campaign trail. So I wanted to wish him a very happy birthday and let him know that I love him.
Representative Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want to take an opportunity here to express my gratitude and honor 3 constituents that I have in my district. Back last year, they came together and worked with me on an initiative that did not make it across the finish line this year, but they spent hours of work and research to help get that through. They also were willing to invest even their own capital to do public awareness on the issue. So I want to thank Ms. Jenny Rose Walter, Mr. Thomas Burnham, and my county mayor Graham Stowe for their efforts on the GIFT Act. Thank you.
Representative Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nancy Evelyn Thacker was my aunt, lost her in December. I just wanted to say her name on this House floor. She was probably my top volunteer and wouldn't be here without her. Also wanted to honor everybody with the Tennessee connection that is up for the NFL draft this weekend. Thinking about all those players. Hopefully they have a bright future in the NFL. And then finally, wanted to share with members, just announced that President Trump has reclassified state licensed medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug, moving it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3. So it's time for us, I know this is our last day, but I think we should come back here and not make Tennesseans wait any longer and pass meaningful medical cannabis legislation before the year's out. So I hope to see everybody back in a special session to take up medical marijuana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to stand up to thank my amazing legislative assistant. If I hear it once a week, I hear it 1,000 times about how nice she is. It's great to have, when people call your office, all they can do is just talk about how wonderfully nice and kind your legislative assistant is. So Kelsey is amazing. And also never fails that they ask, is she my daughter? Because both of our last names are Johnson. But want to thank Kelsey so much. She's such a hard worker. And also a shout out to Aaron Craven, a wonderful intern. Thank you.
Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank all of our legislative assistants. They do a fantastic job. And I know she's watching today, so I want to thank Dina Story. She's been my legislative assistant for 14 years, has done a fantastic job, and ought to get hazard pay for putting up for me. I also want to thank Nicole Leshender, Matt Cook, Jennifer Easton, Ben Whitehead, Paris Finette, Carson Burns, Blake Hassler, Jalen Phillips, and Theo Vallis. They all work valiantly for the House Republican Caucus, and we deeply appreciate you guys every day.
Representative Parkinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I saw students and faculty of St. Mary's going up into the balcony. If y'all still up there, y'all stand up. Y'all make them feel welcome. Some of our best and brightest out of Memphis, Tennessee, if you will. I think they're here. They're gone? All right. But still make them feel welcome. They're here somewhere.
Representative Vital.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to just thank my daughter for making it back from Mexico after trekking for 5 weeks. And she told me she'd be back for the final day of session, and she made it. So please welcome Tess. Thank you.
Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would be remiss on what may be my last day on the floor if I didn't say thank you to Representative Russell. He and I share Loudoun County together. He's a great person to work with. Loudoun County's blessed beyond measure to have him as a state representative. And then Representative Butler, he's got a little tiny portion of Roane County, and likewise, Roane County is fortunate to have you. It's been an honor to work with you two fellas. I appreciate you both, love you both. And then further, I would just say one more thank you to Nicole Essery for being such a great legislative assistant in my time here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, we have one of our former caucus staff members up here. I affectionately called him Chewy. His name is Zach Rutherford. He got crazy and went to D.C. to work up there. Y'all make him feel welcome. Stand up, Chewy. We can't see you.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you so much, Speaker. And we had about 50 folks from St. Mary's from Memphis here earlier. And my parents, one of the scriptures that they often talk about and teach about is there anything left that I can do for Jonathan's sake? And St. Mary's was actually where I did ACT prep when I was in high school, which allowed me to score very well to be able to go to college and earn scholarships. And so it was very wonderful to see them here and those young girls at that school, and appreciate Callie and the team for helping us to make that possible. I also want to just show immense appreciation to my family, constituents, my wife, who continue to watch these sessions and who've been supporting me and District 86 over these last several years in particular, and to Ian McEwen, whose leadership and work in our office with constituent services and legislatively is just unmatched. And happiest of birthdays to my first cousins, Jamise and Jordan, and to my grandmother, my grandmama Gwen. And so thank you so much.
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I just want to give a quick shout out to my assistant, Barry Gobble. Many of you know, if you've graced my office, you've seen the man, the myth, the legend. He's like an old F-250. He's not going to get it done quick, but he'll get the job done in the end. So shout out to Barry Gobble. Thank you.
Representative Shaw.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I only have 1 minute to make this commercial. I want to thank my LA. I want to thank you. I want to thank every member on this floor for having served with you all these years. I don't think I have been able to watch any story, to read any book, or to attend any school that would have taught me the lesson that I've learned in working with you all. I want to thank all the people of District 80 who had confidence to send me here, and to say again, thanks to all of you. It's been a joy, and I love all of you, and I hope you'll do well. God bless you.
Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank my LA, Tawana Smith, as well as my intern, David Briscoe. And I know all of you have noticed the absence of Representative G.A. Hardaway. And wish him well. And I miss him, and I'm sure quite a few of you all miss him. And we hope that he returns as soon as he can, and we look forward to him returning to this house. If not at the end of this session, certainly next year.
All right. I think that was oh, wow. No, it wasn't. Representative Ashley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to recognize my LA and just everybody keep her in a prayer. She's got some health issues and be going through some procedures here in the next short while. Just keep her in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say what an honor it's been to work with all the legislators that won't be here next year, and especially my partner in Loudoun County, Representative Fritz. Appreciate each and every one of you and hope to see you back here soon.
Representative Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to thank my intern who's here, Amelia Haymaker. I also would like to thank my assistant, Trey Tribble. He's, as you all know, we get thousands and thousands of emails and phone calls, and some of them are not pleasant. And so I truly appreciate the work that they do for us. I also want to say happy birthday to all of my friends and family, and a happy anniversary to everybody, because usually it happens when we're not in session. So happy 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, and we'll see you next year.
Representative Chisholm.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to prolong the welcome and honoring, but also I wanted to give a shout out to our clerks and our legal staff here, and thanking them in advance for the long day today, and thank them for all that they've done all year. So help me give them a hand.
All right. Any more welcoming, honoring announcements? Representative Littleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to introduce Perry Keenan, who is he was the past chair of the Republican Party in Pleasant View. He's my good friend, and he's also running for my seat. So let's make him welcome.
Just making sure. Anyone else? All right. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction to resolutions.
Clerk Lambert, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hopefully for the last time, I move that all resolutions properly filed be introduced pursuant to Order number 17 and placed on the consent calendar, referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate joint resolutions congratulatory and memorializing.
Clerk Lambert, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that all Senate joint resolutions congratulatory and memorializing and honor that has to be placed on the consent calendar, pursuant to Order number 17.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Resolutions laying over.
Clerk Lambert, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that all resolutions lying over be referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction of bills, Senate bills on first consideration, Senate bills on second consideration, House bills on second consideration, petitions and memorials, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, calendars. Mr. Speaker, the House has a consent calendar.
Chair Lady Moody, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of the consent calendar on third and final consideration in keeping with Rule 50.
Chair Lady Moody moves passage of the consent calendar probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, any objections been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no objections filed.
That's a wonderful thing. Anyone seeking recognition on the consent calendar? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting on the consent calendar. All members in favor vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 96, no nays.
Having received a constitutional majority, I declare consent calendar passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Leader Lamberth, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to resume at this time yesterday's message calendar.
Without objection, so ordered. Mr. Clerk, call up first message.
Mr. Speaker, that's Senate Bill 2473, relative to airport authorities by Representative Garrett. Mr. Speaker, the Senate non-concurred in House Amendment 2. Mr. Speaker, that was the last item on yesterday's message calendar number 2.
Representative Garrett, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to lift from the table the motion to reconsider action in passing Senate Bill 2473.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Garrett.
I move to reconsider our action on Senate Bill 2473.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Garrett.
I move passage of Senate Bill 2473 on third and final consideration.
Representative Garrett moves passage of Senate Bill 2473. Probably seconded. Chairman Howe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider our actions on Amendment 2.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw Amendment 2.
Without objection, amendment number 2 withdrawn. Representative Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 2473 on third and final consideration.
Representative Garrett moves passage of Senate Bill 2473 on third and final consideration. Any discussion on the amendment? Chairman Clemens, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sponsor, can you please elaborate on what was removed by the Senate?
Representative Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There was nothing removed. There were 2 words added in the professions. To clarify, they added the word architecture and the word business. That's the only thing that's the difference.
Chairman Clemens.
And so that was regarding the qualifications of the individuals to serve on the board, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correct from last night. What was the stated purpose for the removal of those qualifications? And was there any information provided as to that?
Representative Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They didn't remove anything. No qualifications at all. They've only added engineering under section 1H1. They added engineering or architecture. That's what they added. And in that same section under 3, they added the word business. In the Senate, we're conforming to that. So there's nothing that we removed. They just added those 2 words.
Chairman Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Powell.
So if someone is involved in business, then they can be appointed to the board. I just want more clarity on what the word business is very broad. Is it saying that the person's involved in, they have a business, they're a successful businessman? Is it just anybody that's involved in business? If you could answer that.
Representative Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, it would involve anyone under section 3, adding the qualifications to be on the board as industry. The Senate added business or commerce in that section 3. So the word business was added.
Chairman Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question been called. There's objection. We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 74, 21 nays.
Senate Bill 2473, that's previous question. Previous question for Bells. We're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 2473, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does anyone wish to change their vote? Renault, aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 73, 21 nays.
Senate Bill 2473, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare it passed without objection. Most reconsider is tabled. Leader Lamberth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, believe it or not, after all the jumping around, I move that we take up today's regular calendar.
Without objection. So ordered. Call the first bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 562 by Representative Fritz.
Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been unable to get House Bill 562 to move in the Senate, so I move that we hold HB 562 on the desk.
Without objection. Held on the desk. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1176 from Chairman Williams.
Chairman Williams, you're recognized at your desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier in the week, we recognized a singer-songwriter, Don Schlitz, for his famous song, The Gambler. A line in that says, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to lay on the desk. And so, Mr. Speaker, I move this bill to hold on the desk. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Without objection. Held on the desk. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have item 3, House Joint Resolution 1535 by Representative Sparks.
Representative Sparks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of H.A.R. 1535.
Representative Sparks moves adoption. Probably second. Mr. Clerk, any amendments been filed?
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Representative Sparks, you're recognized.
Yes. Thank you. Members, Reagan once said, if I find somebody that agrees with me 80% of the time, that's 80% friend, not a 20% traitor. What this resolution does is honor a group of outstanding individuals. 2 of them are here with us in the gallery. But here's one reason they're outstanding. Representative Darby talked about this yesterday, about visiting with some students with disabilities. You know, sometimes we have a hard time getting in here. Our back hurts, our feet hurt. But let me tell you about these young people. It's going to be difficult for them to stand up, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask them to stand up. This gentleman right here is in a wheelchair, but he's standing, folks. That's my intern, Jacob Pagel, like bagel. Fatima, right here. And I know I'm going to chop up her name. Fatima Grandos Macareno, like the song. Anyways, what they did, they approached me here a while back, and they approached Representative Vincent Dixie, Representative Afton Bain. Afton kept her language clean at the event with the young people. Appreciate that, Afton. It was clean. And but we talked about great things that's facing this next generation, the national debt, 38 trillion. The epidemic of the fatherless that we're seeing, the housing crisis. You know, I bought my first home at 22 years of age when I first got married. Not many young people can do that today. But we talked about the power of a mentor. But that's simply what this is. And I appreciate whoever bumped it off the calendar. Give me that opportunity to talk about it. I won't read the resolution, but I also want to recognize Sydney Ware and Brandon Randolph, who are the Omega young men who helped develop this and put this together. So that's what we're doing here today, celebrating Jacob Pagel, Miss Marcareno, Sydney Ware, and Brandon Randolph. That are the Omega men. With that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to renew my motion.
Representative Sparks renews motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of House Joint Resolution 1535, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, is anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 92, no nays.
House Joint Resolution 1535 having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare adopted without objection. The motion reconsidered is tabled. Mr. Clerk, call the next bill.
House Bill 1802 by Representative Capley, Railroad Defense and Property. Mr. Speaker, Senate bills on the desk.
Representative Capley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 18. Actually.
18.
It's fine. Representative Capley.
I move to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 1847.
Representative Chaplain moves substitute and conform to Senate Bill 1847, probably second. Without objection, so ordered. Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 1847 on third and final consideration.
Representative Chaplain moves passage of Senate Bill 1847 on third and final consideration, probably second. Mr. Clerk, call for first amendment.
House Judiciary Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to adopt.
Chairman Farmer moves adoption, committee amendment number 1, probably second. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting committee amendment number 1, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. You adopt the next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Chaplain, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise today in support of House Bill 1802. At its core, it asks a simple question. Do we trust law-abiding Tennesseans, or do we side with the criminals that prey upon them? Because right now, under current law, if someone is breaking into your property, if they're stealing from you, if they're destroying what you've worked your entire life to build, you're expected to wait. You're expected to hesitate. You're expected to second guess and take a calculated risk at defending what's yours. House Bill 1802 simply says, if someone is destroying your property, that you can use lethal force to protect it. And I renew my motion.
Representative Chaplain renews this motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Martin, you're recognized.
Thank you. Sponsor, when the bill speaks about a person who reasonably believes, in other words, a victim reasonably believes that something is going, how do you define reasonably believes?
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's a good question. So reasonably believes would going, obviously this would be case by case, right? So if someone is in your barn and they're taking a rake and you shoot them and kill them, then that would not be, they're obviously you could have done something else to keep them from doing that. That's not what we're talking about here. Now, if a gentleman has, several $1 million worth of equipment in a barn and he sees somebody burning his barn down and he tells them to stop and they don't stop, then if he feels like lethal force is the only way to get them to stop committing that crime, then he would be able to do so.
Representative Martin.
So under that scenario, if I think that someone is stealing, not a rake, but something more valuable, I would have the opportunity under this bill, someone would have the opportunity to kill someone for the crime of stealing. Is that what I'm understanding you're interpreting reasonable?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It says on, let's see, section 1, part 3, if they believe the property cannot be protected or their actions cannot be terminated by any other means, and there is an imminent danger to a person or a third person death, seriously bodily injury, grave sexual abuse. Yep.
Representative Martin.
Well, two concerns I would share. First of all, we've all known elderly people who have had dementia or whatever and have gotten lost. And they've ended up somewhere where they shouldn't have been. Perhaps they didn't even know they were there in the wrong place. I could certainly see how this bill could be a justification for someone to say, well, I reasonably thought that they were going to do something. And that was not murder, but was a crime of stealing. And I would just say this, the good book says that it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And what that really is given to humanity for is to restrain us from going after someone in a greater way than they have harmed us. In other words, if someone takes your eye, the thought was you could take their eye, but not their life. If someone knocked your tooth out, perhaps they could have their tooth knocked out, but you couldn't take their life. And so my concern here, Representative Chaplain, is that you're saying, what I'm hearing you say, is that if someone is stealing from you, not harming you in the sense that they're going to kill you, but if they're stealing from you and your property, or maybe they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, that you could do something more than an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. Could you address that for me?
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The person must reasonably believe deadly force is immediately necessary to prevent the other's commission of arson, burglary, robbery, aggravated cruelty to animals. You can't, here's the thing. If you shoot someone that has dementia, obviously you're going to go to court and you're going to be prosecuted. If you stand there and you say, hey, I shot this guy, he was just on my property. That's not what this bill does. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Now, if you do go to court and that gentleman was, like in the example that I gave previously, was burning down your barn and you've only got insurance on, let's say, $250,000 worth of equipment, but I've spent 20 years of my life building, $5 million worth of whatever, then that's, if I don't stop him and I shoot him right now, then it's going to be on me. It's going to be on my family. I'm going to have to defend myself because a criminal came on my property and burned down my stuff. That's not right.
Representative Martin.
Oh, I agree that that's not right, that someone could come on your property and burn your stuff. I'm with you 100% on that. My question is really about administering a lethal judgment on someone who maybe is mistaken where they are, or maybe they are still in the rake and you think they're getting ready to burn the barn down with a big tractor that's expensive. That's my concern. I appreciate.
Representative Chaplain. Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker. And I have a couple of concerns with this legislation. Actually, I'm agreeing 100% here with Representative Martin and the comments that he made. I actually have a lifetime carry permit. I'm a firearm owner. And in the class, one of the things it teaches you in the 8 hours is that lethal force and the use of a firearm is to take innocent, is a high bar because you're taking an innocent, potentially innocent human life, right? The reason that we were taught you don't kill people over property is because they are not putting at risk an innocent human life. What this legislation seems to be doing is lowering that threshold significantly and substantially. And the department is going to have to reteach in future classes of people who go get their permit or their lifetime permits, like my wife and I have done, that you can now kill people over property. And I don't think that is right. I think the standards that have been set in statute previously are the ones that we should keep. That we don't kill people over property that may be insured, maybe not insured. And I understand the frustration. I've experienced a home being burglarized. I get that. But I do not think we should give license to individuals to kill people over property. And in all of the classes today that are being taught in the state of Tennessee, when you're getting your firearm and your carry permit, it is saying you can't use lethal force unless there's a risk or danger of innocent human life, not property. And so I don't believe that this is a necessary or a good piece of legislation, and it likely will be used or misused by individuals who are being prosecuted to say, well, I thought that they were going to do this. I thought they were going to do that, when in fact, what may be happening is way more innocent. And so I think at a time where we know this epidemic of gun violence is so rampant, a man killed 7 of his children in Louisiana, we don't need more laws to give people who may not have the best intentions or who may misunderstand this law the right to kill somebody over a tractor, a barn, a house, a very fancy car. I think the standard that we have in statute that we are teaching and training people for in our state to carry a firearm is the one that we should keep. Thank you.
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate those comments. I just want to remind the body again, the person has to reasonably believe that the property cannot be protected by any other means. So obviously, if you're in court and the judge asks you, well, hey, did you tell him to stop? Did you go over there and say, hey, please don't do this? And you say, no, I shot him. Doesn't apply. That's not what this bill does.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker. The person who would be able to attest as to whether or not that individual shouted stop or whatever would be dead. And so in court, if they're asked, they can say, yes, of course I said stop. Yes, of course I screamed and hollered and jumped up and down. I waved a red flag and a white flag and a blue flag, and I asked them not to, but that doesn't mean that that's actually what happened. And that's what I think you've just mentioned, a serious flaw within this legislation that is ultimately going to be very dangerous for very vulnerable people in the communities that we all represent. Thank you.
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They can already do that now. So this legislation doesn't affect that at all. You can say that you fear your life was in danger at any point in time. As long as you know the right things to say, you can create that argument with this bill or without this bill. Does not change it.
Representative Pearson.
We do not need this bill. This bill is introducing a level of harm into our communities that we don't need. For the elderly, for the vulnerable, for the individual who may have dementia, who's stealing a rake, committing burglary, we are giving license for them to be killed. And right now, in the way that we teach it, only when innocent human life is at risk and at danger, and you understand that and know that, are you able to use and should use lethal force. At least that's how I was taught. And now you're trying to switch it to property, which I think is wrong and immoral.
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, the amendment mirrors the self-defense statute, so you also have to believe that your life is in danger on top of your property as well. So that's in the amendment. But yeah.
Representative Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So just recap one more time. So what are the instances in which someone can shoot and kill somebody when their life is not at danger? What would need to happen?
Representative Chaplain.
Under the amendment, their life has to be in danger.
Representative Freeman.
So then why do we need this bill?
Representative Chaplain.
Because we're mirroring the self-defense statute and lowering the standard. Not really for the self-defense statute, but with this bill, property included on top of that.
Representative Freeman.
So again, so you can already stand your ground in Tennessee, and you just said the self-defense statute, so we're mirroring the self-defense statute. So if that's the case, then in what why even include property in this?
Representative Chaplain.
Because there are certain circumstances where you are not protected.
Representative Freeman.
You're not going to answer the question, so I'm going to just stop asking. So thanks.
Representative Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Roll me 5 spots.
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, we know that what this bill is about shoot first, and I think we have very valid concerns about the implications for homeless people, for young people who may knock on the wrong door, as 16-year-old Ralph Ural was going to pick up his siblings and went to the wrong house and was shot by the homeowner. We had 19-year-old Renisha McBride who wrecked her car, tried to get assistance at a house, knocked on the door, was shot by the homeowner. And so I want to ask the sponsor about the Shoot First bill. To Representative Capley, you told my colleague from Davidson County that there are certain circumstances where people are not protected in their self-defense arguments. Can you give me an example of what that might cover, Representative Capley?
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can you repeat that again, please?
Representative Jones.
Thank you. My colleague from Davidson County, you said that there are certain circumstances where people are not protected by self-defense laws or the Castle Doctrine or Tennessee's existing stand your ground law. And you said that this law is needed to expand that and lower the threshold. Can you give an example of what circumstances you're referencing when you stated that to my colleague from Davidson County?
Representative Capley, excuse me. Chaplain.
Sorry. Yeah, I've given several examples already. I'm not going to repeat myself again for you.
Representative Jones.
Again, this is what we're debased to, and I'm trying my best to stay on point today. So I just want to share, Representative Capley, since you think this is a joke, this is about people's lives. What we're encouraging is vigilante-style violence. We're encouraging escalation. There's been multiple instances. People like Trayvon Martin, who had a Skittles and an iced tea, was killed by a neighborhood watchman who saw he was a threat. People like Ahmaud Arbery, who were jogging and were killed because these men thought he was in the wrong neighborhood. This is about life or death. And particularly here in Nashville, we've had homeless advocacy organizations begging you to remove the provision about trespassing or attempted trespassing, because this is going to allow people to shoot homeless folks. And so at the end of the day, Representative Capley, this bill is about encouraging vigilante-style actions from Tennesseans. It's about shoot first. And I wish you would have some answers, because this is a very serious bill. And I'm asking you as a colleague to explain to me an instance, which you did not give to any of my other colleagues, of what you're seeking to do, so we can have clarity on the record, so that when court cases come up, we can refer to the intent of this legislation. And we don't want people to have a permit and a license to kill folks for being poor or for being the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood. And so would you mind sharing an example, Representative Capley, just so we have clarity for the sake of the record in this chamber, for a very serious bill that's literally about life or death? Representative Capley.
Representative Chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, the first 5 minutes of this entire conversation, I gave several different examples. So, thanks.
Representative Jones.
Colleagues, this is who you send up here to defend this. This is a very serious piece of legislation, and we have lawmakers who are very. We've talked about the Second Amendment. My dad was a sniper in the Marine Corps. I'm learning how to shoot this year, but I don't think that this bill is necessary, because what we already have self-defense laws. We already have stand your ground laws. And what we're doing is saying that if you have the wrong person come to your property, you can be shot and killed. And that's what this is about. But again, Representative Capley has no answers. His answers are non-existent, because he cannot defend this legislation. And I hope that the Republican caucus will train your members up better. Your young members who are coming to be statesmen, to be legislators, to answer their legislation, and to be held accountable for what the impact of very serious legislation will be for the people of Tennessee. And so, Representative Capley, I think the people of your district deserve better. And I hope you would be very serious in considering legislation like this. And you can laugh all you want, but I see that your answers are non-existent, just like your hairline. Take care.
Representative Chaplain.
I appreciate those comments. I renew my motion.
Chairman Todd, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call Representative Jones of Davidson out of order in violation of Rule 19. Once again.
Proper motion, probably second. All right, members, we're voting. If you believe the representative from Davidson County, Jones, was out of order, you vote aye for Rule 19. If you feel like he's not, it's a no. Mr. Clerk. Mr. Miss, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the question was about a member being called to order under Rule 19. Rule 19, any member who in speaking or otherwise transgresses the rules of the House, the Speaker shall, or any other member may, call such transgressing member to order, in which case the member so called to order shall immediately sit down, etc.
All right. We're on the vote. If you agree, Representative Jones of Davison is out of order under Rule 19, vote aye. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Aye, 62, 21 nays, 2 present, not voting.
Motion prevails. Representative Warner, you're back on the list.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move previous question.
Previous question been called. Is there objection? See none, we're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 1847 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 62, 24 nays, 3 present, not voting.
Senate Bill 1847 have received a constitutional majority. I hereby declare passed without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. We're Lear Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to take up today's message calendar.
Without objection, so ordered. Mr. Clerk, call first message.
Senate Bill 254 by Chairman Doggett, relative to Department of Correction. On April 9th, the Senate returned Senate Bill 254 to the House.
Chairman Doggett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion for passage of Senate Bill 254 on third and final consideration.
Mr. Clerk, call the next amendment.
House Amendment 2 by Chairman Doggett.
Chairman Doggett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of House Amendment 2.
Chairman Doggett moves adoption of amendment number 2. Probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Give us a little description of what the amendment did that may be different than what you have.
Chairman Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is no different than what we had when I presented this bill a few weeks ago. It's in regards to transdermal monitoring. There was a kind of a wonky situation that occurred between the House and the Senate. We adopted the amendment that actually didn't exist. And so we're going through the process again here with the amendment.
Leader, I believe the answer to your question is the Senate did not adopt the amendment, but they stapled the amendment like they did adopt it, which then put us into a situation. So we're just trying to get it back over there. Thank you. All right, all those in favor of amendment number 2 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted the next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Doggett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion for passage of Senate Bill 254 as amended on third and final consideration.
Chairman Doggett moves passage of Senate Bill 254 on third and final consideration. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor of Senate Bill 254 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 90, no nays.
Senate Bill 254, having received the constitutional majority, I hereby declare pass without objection. The motion for Greek series table. Hey, members, just so you know, we're having to check all message calendars. The Senate decided to kill another bill over there. So it takes away sections of another part of the code. So we're just verifying that it doesn't affect any of the current messages that we currently have. Mr. Clerk, call up next message.
Mr. Speaker, we have a message from the Senate in regards to Senate Bill 2085 by Chairman Martin relative to victims assistance assessment. Mr. Speaker, the Senate non-concurred House Amendment 1.
Chairman Martin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lift from the table the motion to reconsider actions on Senate Bill 2085.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Martin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider actions on Senate Bill 2085.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 2085 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Martin moves passage of Senate Bill 2085 on third and final consideration. Properly seconded. Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider our actions in amendment number 1.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw amendment number 1.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Martin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion for passage of Senate Bill 2085 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Martin moves passage of Senate Bill 2085 on third and final consideration. Any discussion on the amendment? Representative Powell.
All right, so can you give us now the changes that were made and with the withdrawal and then conform, please?
Chairman Martin.
Yes, Representative. So what we were doing was it was up to 125 for the victim assessment. This just makes it 125 set fee.
All right, any further discussion? Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker. And who is paying this 125? I'm trying to follow along with all the changes that are happening.
Chairman Martin.
Representative, what was the question again?
Representative Pearson.
Who's responsible for paying the $125?
Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It'd be the individual that committed the crime and was found guilty of the crime. So if they...
Thank you. And what are these funds for? And I will tell you the challenge that I'm running up against. For a long time, it's people, even after they've served their time, they end up having all these court fees sort of piling up, and that being a barrier to a lot of other things, particularly for people who are indigent. And so I assume this is the victim's assistant assessment. What is this money for?
Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. These funds go to help our RAP services, our Carl Perkins centers, CASA, those wraparound services for the victim. So what this will do is allow that to go from the 45, which it's been for 20 years, up to 125. So your local county will have more money to use to give to those services instead of coming out of the general fund like they've been doing.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you. I believe I understand the intention. Here's the challenge that I run up against. If you are found guilty of a crime and you are sentenced, say, to 1129 or to a year in prison, like that punishment that a judge hands down to you is, right, that sentence is what is aligned to the crime that has been committed. And so adding a fee in addition to the time that people are going to have to serve, that doesn't seem right, because then they're in prison, they're working, making 25 cents a day. Like, how then are they paying off the fine, and does that accumulate interest? Like, I mean, if we want more resources for victims in our counties can make sure that we have those resources, but it's like we're double penalizing people who are already taking pleas, found guilty by a judge or a jury, and these other things.
Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I understand your concerns, but this is just dealing with the funding component to help those wraparound services.
Representative Pearson.
Right, and I understand that, But again, like we're putting a fee on top of people who are serving their time, who say they committed the crime or say they're pleading to it, whether they committed it or not, because we know over 90% of the cases people are pleading to just to get done with it and not taking it to trial, that we're now adding a fee on top of that doesn't seem right to me. And I think if we want to pay for services, we should pay for them and have our county commissions or our city governments or whomever it is to do that, not take it out of people who are serving the sentences or already being adjudicated in a different way. Thank you.
Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. We are voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 2085, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 77, 16 nays.
Senate Bill 254 having received a constitutional majority, hereby declare passed by objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Call the next message, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have a message on Senate Bill 2136 relative to illegal activity by Chairman Sapicki. The Senate non-concurred in House Amendment 2.
Let me repeat the previous bill real here. Senate 2085, having received a constitutional majority, I declare it passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Chairman Speaker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we refuse to recede from our action in adopting amendment number 2.
Without objection, we refuse to recede. Call the next message, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have a message concerning House Bill 29 by Chairman Sapicki relative to services rendered by chiropractors. The Senate substituted Senate Bill on the same subject amended and passed House Bill 29 as amended.
Chairman Speaker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment, what it does is we passed our chiropractic pay bill, and all it does is it extends the implementation for 6 months. I move to concur in Senate Amendment number 3, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Speaker moves to concur in Senate Amendment number 3. Properly seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. Any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of Senate Amendment number 3, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Wait. Ayes 87, no nays, 6 present, not voting.
Senate Amendment number 3, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare concurred in without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled.
Mr. Speaker, we have a message concerning Senate Bill 2403 by Chairman Sapicki relative to education. Mr. Speaker, the Senate non-concurred in House Amendments 2 and 3.
Chairman Speaker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we refuse to recede from our action in adopting amendment numbers 2 and 3.
Without objection, we refuse to recede. Next message, Mr. Clerk.
We have a message concerning Senate Bill 1849 by Representative Hicks of Washington relative to local government. The Senate non-concurred in House Amendment 2.
Representative Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lift from the table the motion to reconsider our actions in passing Senate Bill 1849.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider our actions on Senate Bill 1849.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 1849 on third and final consideration.
Representative Hicks moves passage of Senate Bill 1849, properly seconded. Without objection. Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider our action on amendment number 2.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw amendment number 2.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion for passage on third and final consideration. I renew my motion.
Representative Hicks moves passage of Senate Bill 1849 on third and final consideration. Any discussion? Leader Camper, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Hicks, will you give us a description of the bill?
Representative Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, this just adds Williamson County along with Washington County to this program.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the program tourist development? What is the actual program you're adding them to?
Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This program gives Williamson County a way to create essential workers housing. It's what the amendment does.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sponsor.
Any further discussion? Chairman Williams. Nope. 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 Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. All right. Any objections to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 1849 vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 92, 1 nay, 1 present, not voting.
Senate Bill 1849, I received constitutional majority. I hereby declare passed without objection. Motion reconsider table. Next message, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the House is ready for further consideration of Senate Bill 2283 by Representative Crawford relative to tourism.
Representative Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lift from the table the motion to reconsider our actions in passing of Senate Bill 2283.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider our action on House Senate Bill 2283.
Without objection, so ordered. Representative Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage on the third and final consideration.
Representative Crawford moves passage of Senate Bill 2283, properly seconded. Vice Chairman Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to reconsider our action on amendment number 1.
Without objection, so ordered. Vice Chairman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw amendment number 1.
Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion for passage of Senate Bill 2283 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Crawford moves passage of Senate Bill 2283 on third and final consideration. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections to the question? Representative Pearson, you recognize.
Thank you. And sponsor, as I'm understanding this destination marketing organization, is this specific to a particular county, a particular organization that you had in mind, or is this for all of our counties? For instance, we have the Downtown Memphis Commission. Would that fit under this? And then do you think, and is it a potential change, the 120 days that money must be given to them, which included, I think, interest that may have been received? Is that by the municipality to these organizations?
Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The interest has been taken out when we conformed to the Senate bill. It's no longer there. And as far as the other, it's just for tourism and hospitality.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 2283. Vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 89, no nays.
Senate Bill 2283 having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare passed without objection. Motion for reconsideration is tabled. Leader Lambert, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to take up today's calendar, item number 6.
Without objection, so ordered. Mr. Clerk, call up next bill.
Item 6, House Bill 1881 by Chairman Slater, relative to education. Mr. Speaker, Senate bills on the desk.
Chairman Slater, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 1585.
Chairman Slater moves to substitute form Senate Bill 1585, probably seconded without objection, so ordered. Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 1585 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Slater moves passage of Senate Bill 1585 on third and final consideration, probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call First Amendment.
House Education Committee Amendment number 1, same as Senate Amendment number 1.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw and defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Without objection, Committee Amendment number 1 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Finance Ways and Means Committee Amendment number 1 is House Amendment 2.
Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to withdraw.
Without objection, amendment number 2 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Finance Ways and Means Committee Amendment number 2 filed as House Amendment 3.
Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to withdraw.
Without objection, withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Amendment number 4 by Representative Barrett, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Barrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to withdraw.
Without objection, withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 5 by Representative Slater, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Slater, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request we move that to the heel.
Without objection, roll to the hill. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 6 by Representative Barrett, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Barrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move for consideration.
Representative Barrett moves for consideration. That's the proper motion, probably seconded. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 6. All those in favor of considering amendment number 6, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 26, 61 nays, 1 present, not voted.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary 2/3 vote, the motion to consider amendment number 6 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 7 by Representative Pearson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Pearson, you recognize.
Thank you, Speaker. And to my colleagues, this legislation is deeply concerning as it is going to ensure that our communities, our public schools are going to, again, have more resources taken away from them. And we just got, and I don't represent this district, but news from Germantown that they're facing a bit of a budget crisis because of the amount of kids who are leaving public schools, going to private schools. And we know ESAs are up to about $10,000 of taxpayer money. And this bill would raise the income eligibility from about $120,000 to $244,000 a year. Again, diverting public dollars away from our public schools to private schools. This amendment is to not allow for that eligibility income to increase and instead to keep it to folks who are at about $120,000. With that, I move for consideration.
You've heard the motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 7. All those in favor of considering amendment number 7, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Grills, no. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 19, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary 2/3 vote, the motion to consider amendment number 7 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 8 by Representative Pearson, Mr. Speaker, was not timely filed.
Representative Pearson, you recognize.
Thank you. This bill simply renames the legislation Expansion of Private School Vouchers and Shelby, Davis, and Hamilton and Knox Counties Act. Again, we are seeing right now the ramifications of this legislation in our community schools and our public schools. People are taking their dollars and their kids to private schools, and the public schools are hurting. And even in our wealthier suburbs, this is having a significant impact and budgetary implications, because people who are rich, wealthy, and have access are taking the welfare for the wealthy that we're giving, and they're taking it to private institutions. This is hurting our public schools, and it is not just going to impact communities that you might think. I know a lot of our towns, a lot of communities are facing this. So we just need to be honest about what is happening, and the removal of these resources is having a detrimental impact. And so this renames the legislation for that purpose, and I move for consideration.
You're one to move for consideration. He did. All right. Proper motion, probably second. We're voting for consideration of amendment number 8. All those in favor of considering amendment number 8, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 19, 72 nays.
In accordance with Rule 60B, having failed to receive the necessary two-thirds vote, the motion to consider amendment number 8 fails. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
House Amendment 9 by Representative Hicks of Washington. Mr. Speaker, it was not timely filed.
Representative Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw.
Without objection, amendment number 9 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, that's back to the heel of the amendments. House Amendment 5 by Representative Slater. Mr. Speaker, it was not timely filed.
Chairman Slater, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw.
Without objection, amendment number 9 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Slater, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me explain to you where we are with this bill. This bill does one thing. If you look on your dashboard, go back to the original language that I filed, which passed out of the Education Committee. It does one thing. It allows students who are in school, in a private school with the ESA, to take either the TCAP or a nationally normed reference test. Currently, they're required to take the TCAP, and that's the only option that they have. I bring this bill before you today based on one thing, and that is education policy. I've lived in education my entire adult life. This is based on education policy. This bill, as it stands before us today, does not expand the ESA in any way. There are two reasons why I believe that this policy is important for us to allow these students. And by the way, based on the comptroller's report from January, this is 3,693 students. There may be some more next year, but based on that report, it's 3,693 students. Right now, they are required to take the TCAP, even if the school where they're attending offers and requires a different test, a nationally normed reference test. So the first reason why this is sound educational policy is because it's fair for these students to only have to take one test instead of two tests. Right now, what ends up taking place is that they take the nationally normed reference test that the school offers, and they also have to take the TCAP test. In some situations, they have to be pulled out of their classroom on a TCAP testing day. They're missing classroom time to take a second test, which is unnecessary. It gives no additional information to the student's parents, gives no additional information to the school, which the parents have chosen. And so it's a matter of fairness. Secondly, the reason that this is educationally sound and sound education policy is because the TCAP test, we, being the legislature, we have worked very hard to put the TCAP test in place. It is aligned to our public school students. We set, through the State Board of Education, the state standards. What are the goals and objectives? What do we want our students to learn? We then vet what curriculum, what textbooks can be used. That's done also through the State Board of Education. We give the professional development, and even it starts with our EPPs, our colleges and universities that train our teachers, the instruction as well. And then we have a properly aligned test, the TCAP test. We spend millions of dollars on that TCAP test for our public school students. And that's a good thing because it gives to us information, and it's aligned with the standards, the curriculum, and instruction that we mandate from this body, from the General Assembly. But when a student has to take a test, which is not aligned with the standards, curriculum, and instruction, it is out of alignment and it's an improper test for that student to take. That is simply sound educational policy. So for two reasons, I brought this legislation. I brought it on behalf of the students that are using the ESA dollars so that they would have a fair and aligned test. That's all that this bill does. It does not expand the ESA or any program, does not add any other county, doesn't have anything to do with income caps. It does one thing. It allows a student to take a test that is aligned for the school, for the standards, the curriculum and instruction at the school where they are attending. With that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Chairman Slater renews his motion. Discussion on the bill. Representative Love, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to the sponsor, let me just get a clear answer on this if I can. So this requires testing for the ESA. Are there required testing for the Education Freedom Scholarships?
Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I think I understood your question. And yes, this does require testing for ESA. Currently, the requirement is that they must take the TCAP. This would allow them to take a nationally norm reference test. You referenced the EFS. The EFS, when this body passed that, we passed it with this type of language. Those with freedom scholarships can either take the TCAP, if that's what the school decides, or a nationally normed reference test.
Representative Love.
Thank you, Speaker. So just so I'm clear, and pardon me for asking the question several times, but I do want to get this on the record. So this does not expand the ESAs, does not add any other counties to ESAs, does not adjust the income cap for ESAs, does not take the limit off for ESAs, correct?
Chairman Slater.
Yes, that is correct. There were amendments that had been put on in other places and on the floor, that type of thing. We are back to my original bill, which passed in Education Committee. And it does one thing, it just changes the testing requirements. We are not changing the counties. We are not lifting any caps. We are not changing the economic requirements. We're doing none of that. We're doing one thing. If we pass this legislation, we're making it fair for these students that receive ESA funds.
Representative Love.
Thank you, sponsor, and thank you, Speaker.
Chairman Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So here's the problem. You talked about this being good education policy. Good education policy, the chief aim of good education policy is to improve student outcomes. It's to better educate children. Now, we've passed 2 voucher scams by different names, and this one is the original voucher scam that we're targeting here. And we have no proof whatsoever that it's working. Tennesseans are paying hundreds of millions of dollars for this scam. And these children now, what you want to do is eliminate the very accountability or ability to measure if there are any educational outcomes improvements for these children, which should be the aim. So if we're going to do this, as we've been doing it, you'd like to know how they're measuring up to be able to compare apples and apples to know whether it's actually working, whether we want to know whether we're investing Tennessee taxpayers' money appropriately into a program under good education policy to improve student outcomes. This eliminates that. Now, I've got 3 children in public school. They're taking the TCAP right now. And you're sitting here introducing an amendment or a bill that says their rich friends that decided to take advantage of this voucher scam get to go to a private school and get excused from the very same test just because they decided to go to that private school. That's inherently unfair. Now, if you want to compare apples and apples, compare my kids and their classmates' test scores to these other kids going to the private schools, and let's see how this measures up. Because when y'all came in this session in 2019, promises of accountability were made. That guy y'all allowed to slither in here this morning made promises that there would be accountability under this false promise of improved educational outcomes and opportunity, which has never materialized. And we don't know. We don't have any data on any of this stuff. We don't have data on either voucher scam sufficient to say this state should be investing hundreds of millions of dollars more into that program. But here we are yet again, dancing for this dumpster trash of an organization like puppets for no reason. I don't understand why we're continuing to go back. We pass a bill, make promises, then we come back a year or two later, all of a sudden we cut all those promises, but then we keep doubling that program and not benefiting anybody. That's bad education policy. To what end are we doing this if not to improve educational outcomes and provide opportunity to every child in the state of Tennessee? Every child. That's good education policy, is providing opportunity to every child with the same opportunity in an equitable manner. But here we have the haves and the have-nots yet again being treated differently because y'all decided who should benefit and who shouldn't, and now you're going to give them special treatment. You complain that they have to take 2 tests. They don't have to take 2 tests. That private school doesn't have to give them that other test. They can give them the TCAP. That's 1 test. And if they have to take 2 tests, then maybe taking 2 tests is worth $8,000. Just so we as a state, as public officials with a fiscal duty, can know whether or not the policies, educational policies we're passing actually result in improved educational outcomes. This completely undermines our ability to do that. So I want you to explain to me how this does not undercut the accountability that was promised and how we're going to be expected to measure apples and oranges to know whether this education policy is resulting in improved educational outcomes.
Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And that is a valid question. You brought up educational outcomes and you brought up accountability. Your question was, how will this allow us to hold them accountable? Even with taking a nationally norm reference test, we as a state will be able to compare not the nationally norm reference test to the TCAP, because you are correct. You can't compare apples to oranges. You can't compare a nationally norm reference test to the TCAP. You're absolutely right. But we have a cohort of test takers in the state who take nationally norm reference tests in these schools. We have the ESA data. We have the data from the EFS, which has to be reported as well. And this body earlier this year passed it so that independent homeschoolers can take a nationally norm reference test as well. So when you add all those up, we end up with a cohort of statistically significant data of how well these students are doing in the school or in the option that their parents chose because it was the right fit for them. So we will have the data that's necessary. I commend the report, by the way, on the comptroller's report has a wealth of data. We will continue to gather data. We will continue as a General Assembly to be able to use that data to continue to set sound educational policy for all of the students in Tennessee. I'd reference one thing that you had mentioned. You mentioned that it's the rich kids going. Well, the ESA is not the rich kids. We're talking about 100% of the free and reduced lunch. We have not expanded anything there. It's still our children that are coming from difficult backgrounds oftentimes.
Representative Hicks of Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Representative Slater, thank you for this piece of legislation. I just want to take a minute to look at this sort of in a little bit different light and try to put a little bit of common sense into this. Take some emotions and some attitudes towards education out of this for a second. And think really about the students, because that's really what we need to be thinking about is students instead of our priorities and what we think is best. The reason in 2019 that this legislation was passed is because inside of these inner cities and the places that had the most population, those kids needed something different. That's exactly why this legislation was passed. I'm glad it was passed. I wasn't here, but many of you was. And I think it's made a big difference in a lot of students' lives, and I think it's extremely important. They needed a different option. They needed a different outlook. I want to ask you something. I can tell by the way that you are presenting this bill. You know this bill very, very well right here, okay? You don't even have to look at your notes. You've studied it. You've studied it well. Now, I consider Deputy Speaker Zachary here. He in my mind, he's a pretty smart guy. Okay. Now he may have looked through this piece of legislation. Okay, he may have glanced at it, but he didn't study it like you studied it. So if I was to give you two a test, I think I know which one would pass the test and which one wouldn't. And that's exactly what this bill is trying to do. Is public education, contrary to what the fine gentleman from Shelby County last night said, I think our public education system is doing a great job. I think that they do a good job as far as their curriculum and teaching to the test. And they're doing that well. But these ESA schools, they are not required to do the same curriculum. And I don't think that they should. And therefore, I don't believe that they should be, I believe that they should have a choice on what tests that they take. And that's exactly what this piece of legislation does. And I thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I hope that my colleagues will look at it the same way. This is a common sense bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Slater. All right. Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When they passed the Educational Freedom Scholarship Program, I wasn't part of this body, but I was in tune and listened intently at the whole process, and it was a process. But the thing that they got right was, this is simple. There's a test. And if we're going to run this thing out, they should have the same test to compare. And people talking about teaching to the test. Fourth grade math, ladies and gentlemen, is fourth grade math. The amount of science you should know by the sixth grade is the amount of science you should know by the sixth grade. They're acting like one test is teaching Latin and the other test is teaching German. That's not what this is. We have, as the sponsor said, we spent millions, probably up to billions of dollars perfecting this test. And as my colleague from the richer side of my county said, we need to do things the Tennessee way. And we've done that. This is a test that tests growth and achievement. This is a test that we're telling our people they need, that we need to administer to make sure that we're doing a quality job. The sponsor eloquently laid out reasons why we should do away with this, but what he didn't say was the private school kids aren't doing as well as the public school kids. And we should be applauding that. We really should be applauding that. That's a good thing. That is a good thing for our public school system. Because I think the original thought, and some of y'all's original thoughts, is that they're going to get things better. It's going to be better over there than it is in this public school. And we talk about the $1 billion of investment and what we've done over the last little bit and how our test scores are coming up. But we're also saying our test isn't adequate. Our test isn't as good as this national test. You guys talk all the time about California negative ways, New York in negative ways. But now you want a nationwide test. We do a good job with our TCAP testing. It's a good test. What the sponsor doesn't want to say out loud is those private school students aren't getting it. The ones that are getting the scholarship, they're not getting it. And another thing about this, well, they got to take two tests. These original scholarship winners, they get almost $10,000. The ones you all passed last year get $8,000. So that $2,000 for an extra test, I'm good with. $2,000 in the parent's pocket just to have the data. To say now we can look and see what math is going down in public school. Maybe we need to put some measures in. English is going down in private schools. Maybe we need to rethink this. But you're going to do away with all that because you're scared. You're scared that this experiment is failing. Experiments are great. You get your hypothesis, you say it's going to come out this way, and you perform the experiment. That's a good thing. That's the scientific way. Sometimes the measurement does not align with your hypothesis. Sometimes it's a failure. And I'm not saying this is a failure, but I'm saying let's keep measuring. So again, what you want to say is we're going to be on the same field. We're going to play a football game. We're going to give our kids some tools. We don't like football no more. So we're going to give them, head clippers now and have them go at it that way. That's what you're doing. Keep measuring. Members, let's keep this test. It's really simple. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for your comments. The TCAP test is a great test. I have no qualms with the TCAP test, but it is not the only test. There are plenty of nationally normed reference tests that are already commonly used in the state of Tennessee. You can go to the Department of Education website, or Tennessee Department of Education. You can see tests, nationally normed reference tests that are commonly used. They're not better or worse. The TCAP isn't better or worse. They're just different tests. And for these students, they are the right tests because the school that their parent has chosen, they have also chosen the test that aligns best with their standards, curriculum, and instruction. And so this is not a public versus private. This is not a TCAP versus nationally norm reference test. This is not rich versus poor. This is simply fairness for these students whose parents have chosen to apply for the ESA and have sent their children to these chosen schools. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. We've talked long hours on this subject and trying to collect the proper data we need to make good educated decisions as we move forward in the ESA and the Education Freedom Scholarship. Members, however you feel about school choice, that's up to you. All we're asking you to do today is allow us to collect information that truly represents the academic outcome of a student in the environment that they're in. That's all we're asking to do. The easiest way I can explain this to anybody, my old football days are coming out here. What we're asking these kids in these private schools to do, like a football team, would be is, hey, you're going to run the spread offense. We're going to teach you how to run the spread offense. And on Friday, when you take your test, which is the game, we expect you to know the spread offense. But what we do with the ESA program is instead of letting them run the spread offense, we make them run the wishbone. How are we getting good information on our students' progression if at the final moment that we need for them to show us what they're doing, we're changing the game on them? We recognize this with the Education Freedom Scholarship, okay? We recognize that. Chairman Slater wants to rectify that so that we can continue to get good academic information off the progression of our students. Chairman Slater and I are not talking about a system. We're not talking about money. We're talking about gathering information of our students so that we know where they are, so that when they do get to high school or they do go to college, they have the education that they can make the choices necessary for Tennessee to succeed into the future. No matter how you feel about this, I hope you will vote yes on this bill so that we can get this aligned properly, so that we can track whether or not these students are progressing academically to be good citizens in the state of Tennessee. Chairman Slater, I don't have a question for you. I just want to say thank you for carrying this. This is a very, very important bill in education that we must have. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Slater. Very good. All right. Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My previous question.
Previous been called. Objections on the board. We're all in favor of previous question. Vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member vote, does any member wish to change their vote? Leatherwood, aye. Mr. Clerk, take previous question.
I 6329 nays.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 1585 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member vote, does anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 5439 nays.
Senate Bill 1585, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare passed without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank.
What did he say?
What's your name?
Hang on, Leader.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I will. Chairman Clemens, for what purpose?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to remind the House Democratic Caucus that we'll be taking a quick picture on the north steps if we take a break. Thank
All
you.
right, very good. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, such a surprise. We are taking a break. So, so after consulting with the Minority Caucus Chairman and Leader and the Speaker, I have an announcement really quick, but then I have a recess motion. The class of 2012, if you can meet me up front during this recess. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I move to take a recess until 2:15 today.
Without objections, order.